This is the B3RN
and B3RN HD1 Los Angeles,
the B3 Radio Network. In a world where car companies are numbered in the hundreds, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Honda, Mitsubishi, Kawasaki, GMC, Lotus, Toyota, Acura, BMW, Lexus, you need to know the facts, the latest information for everything about cars, trucks, motorcycles, and ATVs. This is Speed.
A new face, a new look. The Lincoln MKS is revealed. The Dodge Viper is teased once again, but this time it's the interior. And we're all down for a little 4x4 action, right? But how about some 6x6?
Wait, what?
All these stories and more on this episode of Speed, only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's internet talk station. You have that confused look on your face, man. And that would be my co-host, Boontar MacGyver Horn. I'm your host, Brian Bombarios.
A 6x6? What?
Yeah, 6x6 action all coming up here on Speed. You can go ahead and call us anytime you want at 626-532-7154 and leave us a voicemail, or call us if you catch us in the studio, or email us at speedradiob3@yahoo.com, or check us out online at b3radionetwork.webs.com for all the latest information, news, and all that good stuff.
How would that work exactly?
We'll get to that maybe a little bit later, but the off-roading season is upon us. It is coming soon.
Where's that hallelujah when you need one?
Yeah, I know. Should have had that cued. I did want to go with the cool story. I think this is actually awesome news for one of the more higher-classed companies in America. It's the Lincoln MKS, and it recently got a new facelift. You will remember that Lincoln is Ford's luxury brand, as Cadillac is to GM and Lexus is to Toyota. Every car company seems to have their regular company. So like GM, it's Chevrolet, and then they got Cadillac. Then Ford, they have Ford, and they have Lincoln.
And then VW has
Lamborghini.
VW, and then Lamborghini out of nowhere.
Don't they have some other big one?
I don't know, but the biggest one I know of is the Lamborghini.
Yeah, and then Toyota has Lexus, and the list goes on and on. And then one that I never thought took off as well as maybe it should have was Infiniti by Nissan.
Oh yeah,
like the in America, at least my feeling is that they're trying to make it like Cadillac. They're trying to make it a very high-end luxury brand, but it just doesn't sell. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, because if you look at
they're like the lower end of all those. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, because if you look at it, they pretty much look exactly the same.
Yeah, the body styling on an Infiniti and a Nissan look almost identical. Yeah. It's just like the badging. It's different. So
there's no point of buying it.
But the Lincoln has hit a milestone in certain degrees. Is do you remember the Cadillacs of the yesteryear? Maybe like in the 90s, they kind of actually looked really boring. They just looked like regular Cadillacs, as time goes on, like say the Mustang, for instance, when it first came out, and then it evolved, and then it became into an ugly hatchback in the 80s, and then it turned into a nice looking car in the 90s, and then they went retro style and it came back. So it came full circle. Well, but during that time, it switched. It changed a little bit. The hoods got longer. The lights became more modernized and all that. Well, Lincoln and Cadillac have done the same way, where they've gone back to yesteryear. And you will have noticed, like the Cadillac CTS, it is very sharp lines. Cadillac has very modern, sharp lines. Well, Lincoln has learned that the hard way, because Lincoln sales have suffered the last about maybe 5 to 7 years.
Oof.
I mean, Ford already killed Mercury, which was already sort of a niche brand anyway for Ford, because Ford had 3 brands. It had Ford, obviously, Lincoln, and Mercury, but the problem is that people didn't know if Mercury was supposed to be above Lincoln or below Lincoln. I never knew.
I think it was supposed to be below Lincoln.
It was supposed to be, I don't even know if it was supposed to be below Ford.
Oh, wow.
I mean, do you know?
I have no idea, because I hardly see any.
If you had to tell me the name General Motors brand, obviously Chevrolet is below Cadillac, and Buick is below Cadillac as well. So there's 4 brands, but as in cars, it would be Chevrolet on the bottom, but not saying that they're trash, but they're the cheaper, more commoner car. Then it would be Buick. They're like the entry-level luxury car. And then it would be Cadillac, the supreme master of money, the amount of money you can spend on a car. You can easily spend $100,000 on a Cadillac, Not to say that Chevrolet doesn't. I mean, come on, they make the Camaro and the Corvette.
Yeah, that's
easy
true.
$100,000 spent right there too. But Cadillac has redesigned some of the lines, and if you want to see the pictures, you can always visit b3radionetwork.webs.com and click the show notes, and there will be the pictures of the new Cadillac. MKS. And this one actually, for a luxury car, it does pretty decent on gas for being a very heavy car. It actually gets 25 to 28 miles per gallon.
Oh, wow,
average.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it does start at a price tag that, well, for me, it kind of hurts, $42,000. But I mean, for a luxury car, I guess that's actually pretty cheap. I mean, the cheapest, I know with BMW, one of their cheapest cars is like $36,000, which actually doesn't.
And that's for base, like nothing on it.
Yeah, and it's the engine only has 200 horsepower. It's not really, when you get a Beamer, that's probably not the one you want to get.
No.
You might as well just dish out something else and get, a turbocharged V6 or something. Not a run down that, but they have dramatically reshaped the front end, which I think is a better styling cue. But I was actually more of a fan of the older Cadillac. The MKZ was actually my favorite Lincoln model for a long while, but now it has this seems to be the craze too, is the headlamps, the HIDs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then there's going to be sharper lines. This one actually has 350 foot-pounds of torque. It has 365 horsepower. It comes from the Ford EcoBoost 6-cylinder. So it's pretty much using all the same engine characteristics that were used in the previous generation, but they're just carried over. But pretty much I believe the interior has changed and updated also. And I guess the interior is also going to have LCD tachometer and speedometer. All that stuff's going to be all digital, and it'll probably have the latest in Ford technologies. Like they have the My Ford Touch system.
Oh wow!
So it's going to have all the navigation stuff. It's pretty much like I think Chevrolet and the GM brands just launched something. It's called MyLink, and it's pretty much the same thing as My Ford Touch, but everybody has their own. Like Toyota just released their infotainment system, which is called NQ. It's actually kind of intuitive the way they did it, because the way that General Motors has done it and Ford is that you go into your car and then you have to set up everything. But with Toyota's NQ, it's all in the cloud, so you can actually set up stuff like you can set up your radio station on your phone, and then when you get in your car, it's already done, so you can just get up and go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, OnStar already does that, like with directions and stuff. You can be on your phone, send the directions to your vehicle, and then they're already there. I do that with my truck all the time. But as in with like infotainment, like I want to open Pandora because I'm walking from, like, let's say the mall's doors to my car. Well, that's perfect time. You're already on your cell phone texting people anyway. Yeah. You might as well tell your car, hey, when I get in the car, open up Pandora and play, a music artist. And then when I get in the car, I don't have to do anything except drive away. So that's actually pretty cool. So the Lincoln is getting some newer features like that. It remains pretty much unchanged with the engine-wise, but I mean, 25 to 28 miles per gallon on a luxury vehicle isn't that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So that's actually pretty cool. And then there was actually news this week. I believe it was the New York Auto Show that just finished up. And for that, they teased it once again, was the Viper from Dodge, the 2013 STR Viper. And they only released a few photos, and this is actually the interior.
Is that red and black bucket seats?
Yeah, red and black bucket seats. And
nice.
I forgot, is the Viper, is it only a two?
It's only a two-seater.
Two-seater, yeah.
Well, at least last time I remember was a two-seater.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change as in the seating arrangement. I think it only is a two-seater. But
that's a pretty nice bucket seat though, red and black.
The images are shown here of the new interior. It's a teaser image, so they're only meant to intrigue your interest when the car is actually revealed next week, I believe. So I am really psyched to see the new Viper. I don't think that it's going to change too much. Like the styling, I'm pretty sure it's going to have some newer headlamps. The tail,
they're probably going to make it a little bit more sharper now.
Yeah, I would believe they would do that. I remember the last one; it was kind of roundy and doughy, which is what the
doughy.
Well, come on, honestly, the back end, it was very round.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're going to make it sharp.
At the time, though, that was what Dodge. If you notice, the trucks, they were very bubbly, very curvy. For an American car company, American cars tend to be very boxy still. It's the imports that love to do the round, shapes and bulbous. But
they're switching now.
Dodge tried to do that, and I don't know. I don't think they did it very successfully. Hence, probably why they're going back to sharper designs. And I think that's just also the modern look of cars, because cars end up looking more modern longer if they have sharper lines nowadays. Like the Cadillac, the STS, it's been out since I think 04, 03. I mean, it doesn't look very old. Yeah, I mean, in comparison, if you know cars, it doesn't. Yeah, it looks old, but you know what I mean. Like to probably the average person, it looks like a brand new Cadillac.
True.
So, the 2013 Viper will make its official debut at the New York Auto Show. I guess it's next week. Sorry, I take that back. But it's pretty much there is a possibility that it will displace in the engine 8.7 liter engine. That's the rumor, and produce as much as, and this is the minimum that's probably the rumor, 650 horsepower with a 6-speed manual transmission, rear-wheel drive. Thank you. And the manual, remember I brought that up when I first brought up the story. It's manual only, so that's pretty good. And
for all you babies who want it automatic.
Yeah, I don't know why. And poor. I can't get over that story we brought up weeks ago about the Porsche wanting to just not even bother with making manuals anymore.
Grow up, people.
I know.
Good stick shift, man.
That stick is actually a short shifter. That is a very, very nice one, by the way. I like how they have if you look at the picture, for the passenger, they actually have like a handle grip, so because they know that the driver's going to be all crazy driving this thing.
Imagine when you're going around corners. Oh my God.
So we will keep you posted and latest on all the new Viper stuff, because I am actually pretty psyched to see it.
Again, people, stick shift,
yes.
Please.
And you will remember a couple weeks ago, I had brought up a concern over the Camaro LZ1, how they were stopping the production because they found an error flaw. Well, it's resumes now. It's been about 3 weeks, and the Camaro is back up and running. So they
fixed it?
Yeah, it doesn't actually give exactly what it was. It's probably all in-house stuff that they don't want to release. As a car company, why would you?
It was probably something major.
Maybe. But the production of the 2012 Camaro LZ1 resumes at Chevrolet's Ontario plant, and it was actually a 3-week delay. So they had halted back stuff. They halted the production from May, and discovering that a potential problem during the routine quality control check, and that's what resolved. And now everything's good to go.
Watch, next thing you know, it wasn't a slight problem. It was like something wrong with the drive shaft that would like snap mid-drive.
Hey, well, at least they fixed it and it didn't happen on the road, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Chevrolet has resumed all that, and it's a supercharged Camaro, by the way, and it will be shipping to dealerships and customers very soon. The company plans to build fewer than 3,000 of these Camaros. They're going to be limited editions.
Oh,
that's
wow.
why.
All right.
And these Camaros are equipped with 580 horsepower. Man, makes my mouth water. And with 556 foot-pounds of torque, the car can reach 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds flat.
Dang.
And it actually displaces, with the supercharger on it, it's a 6.2-liter engine, V8, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And there is actually, this is the sad news, is that we've reached this era in technology, and I will say that, as time goes on, our technology and stuff gets better, right? And
most of the stuff.
Our engineering gets better. Compared to when cars were first invented, obviously.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. My parents used to have a 1987 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and that thing had a 3-speed automatic, a 3-speed. And it's actually for a long while, even up till about. My truck's a 4-speed. You would think that by the time nowadays, a lot of cars like the Chrysler 300 in a couple of years will be getting a 9-speed automatic. And the Camaro does have an available option for a 6-speed automatic. And here's the sad news, dude. I think this is sort of, not only has Porsche emphasized that the stick is dying, but I think I'm agree that it is dying. I don't want it to.
I know, right?
But 0 to 60 times for the automatic, 3.9 seconds. It shaved off the manual by a whole 0.1 second. Now, for average people and stuff for cars, yeah, that doesn't make a difference. It's like, so who cares? It's 0.1. But if you're an avid NASCAR fan or racer or just a car person in general, that's a big difference. You can win a huge amount of distance in a 0.1 of a second.
You could probably be like halfway down the block right now.
Yeah, and it shaved it on an automatic. And it's actually due to the computers and stuff. They know when to switch. They can feel the grade. They have all these sensors now where the car can feel, okay, I'm going uphill. I'm doing a curve into a downhill. And so the transmissions know when to switch. And actually there's these technologies now. I believe it's Lincoln and Mercedes that use them, where they actually use GPS. And the GPS gives you the elevation. So it knows when the road is sinking down or going up. And it will transfer that data to the transmission and the engine to know, hey, you're about to go uphill in 2 seconds, so why don't you gun it a little bit so we don't have to work the engine when we're going uphill. Same thing actually with the headlamps. You know how there's some of the
Oh, yeah,
cars that
some of
when you
them
turn the
angle-
wheel left, they angle to the left or right. They use also GPS tracking systems now to do that, so that your headlamps don't actually turn with the steering wheel; they turn with the GPS tracking sensors.
In other words, the car is 70% computer.
And the other sad thing is that it's going to cost you a ton when that stuff breaks down.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it's gonna cost you guys a ton. It's gonna cost me more. Or no, it's gonna cost me less. You guys are gonna have to pay me more. And okay, go ahead, go buy a new car.
Yeah, you're loving that.
I know, right? Heck, it's already charging people $400 just for a brake change.
I know. Oh, and by the way, the top speed for that Camaro LZ1 is 180 miles per hour with the manual. And again, dude, sad news. With the automatic equipped Camaro, 184 miles per hour is the top speed. I hate automatics. I hate the era we live in. I wish I was born in the 60s when all the muscle cars were first coming out.
Man.
The Plymouth the Roadrunner, the Barracuda, the Challenger, the Charger, and all of them, base, stick. Automatic, that was like a luxury $1,000 option. Back then, $1,000 was like $7,000 today, you know? I miss eras like that. I really want to buy an old car just because it has a manual. A 3-speed manual, I don't care. As long as it's a stick, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, when we come back, there's also pretty good news. When we return, a certain motor company that's all about professional grade celebrates its centennial, and yes, of course, recalls. And we will get to the one story that I had Boone Turn all interested in, the 6x6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
6x6.
we'll get all those stories and more when we come back. This is Speed, only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's internet talk station.
This is the B3RN,
And B3RN HD1 Los Angeles.
the B3 Radio Network.
Welcome back to Speed, only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's only internet talk station. And we celebrate a centennial this month, actually. A car company is turning 100 years old, and I am proud to say that it is none other than GMC, General Motors Company, which is actually my truck, which is one of my favorite companies. And they started back in 1912.
Oh wow.
And they're a bit older than that. They actually started back in, I believe it was 1902. But they were under a different name.
Oh, okay.
It's a long story where General Motors...
Yeah.
General Motors actually wasn't created to make cars. General Motors was created as a holding company for a guy who wanted to just buy all these car companies so he could make a ton of money by owning all the car companies. And then he created General Motors. And then General Motors sort of took off and did its own thing, and then through stocks they kicked him out. And it's this long political story, and then he ended up buying it back. Through stocks and
Let's not get into it.
So there's all that, but good to hear that General Motors is celebrating. And last year they celebrated 100 years with Chevrolet. Chevrolet already turned 100 years old, and I believe Cadillac, I'm pretty sure, is over 100 years old as well. I know Buick is one of the oldest car companies around. I believe they started in 1908.
Oh, wow.
Actually, an older car company, if you want to go a little background here, is Oldsmobile. Sadly, they're no longer with us. They were discontinued and shoved out in 2002 when General Motors decided to cut the losses there. And by the way, by the end of Oldsmobile's life, they weren't making very good cars. They were very ugly.
The 80s were stronger.
The 60s, like the Oldsmobile 442, pretty much their only muscle car.
Yeah.
That thing was bad. Well, that thing could tear like the asphalt apart. That was a monster of a car. That was like that could compete with a Boss 402, 302 Mustang, or a Cobra, anything. That car could beat it. That was a nice car. And but Oldsmobile actually started like in the 1880s as a car company, and then General Motors took that over. But they cut their losses. But it's a good thing to hear that pretty much all GM's line now is over 100 years old. And to celebrate that, GMC will be launching a special edition fleet, which makes me regret buying my truck. I should have waited an extra year to get some special edition stuff. But they're going to release about like chrome grills, a couple of extra little badges and stuff. So pretty much it just means your resale value is going to be a little bit higher.
Maybe you should have waited.
Just kidding. I'm happy. But what that means is that only 3 models are going to get it. The GMC has more models, but it's going to be the 2012 Sierra, Yukon, and Yukon XL. And that's because those are the brand's longest running nameplates. The Sierra dates back to the early 70s when the truck actually wasn't called the Sierra. The Sierra was actually a platform designated for their other truck, which I don't remember the name of right now, but it was sort of like if you wanted the most expensive version, they called it the Sierra. Like as right now, General Motors Company, GMC, if you get one of their models is called the Yukon. And if you get the most expensive Yukon, they call it the Yukon Denali. Well, replace the word Denali with Sierra, and that's what that was back in the 70s and 80s. And then they decided, well, Sierra's a nice name. Let's name that when we make our new truck and just drop the old nameplate, and that's what they did. Same thing actually with the Silverado. The Chevrolet, I think it was the CK. That's what they called the truck back then. It was just a CK, C/K. And then they decided we want to name it something else. And well, if we want to make a luxury version of the CK, and we'll name it the CK Silverado. Then they decided Silverado's a better name. Let's just drop the CK and name it Silverado. And so there's your little GM facts right there. But nice to hear that over 100 years, and GMC actually. But it will cost you at a premium though. Each vehicle will cost you about $995, and that's for the paint job if you want it in white. Apparently, they're going to release 3 colors for this. There's going to be an Oxy Black, which is available at no extra cost. There will be what they call a Heritage Blue, which runs at an extra $195. But if you want the white, like I mentioned, $995, $1,000. But this is supposed to be like a crystal clear, like pristine white. That's only going to be made for this one model a year.
Pretty much like a kind of like a pearl kind of.
Yeah, like a super rich pearl. That's going to be hard to clean. You're going to have to wax that sucker every day.
It's going to suck if a bird poops on it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll blend in. But yeah, so there'll be the window sticker price will actually increase the vehicle total sale value by almost $2,000 too. So you're
just for a couple badges and whatnot?
Yeah, a couple of badges, but they're only going to make this vehicle for 100 years. Probably the next time they're going to celebrate this is 125. They usually skip 25 years after this point. So, I mean, if you want something worthwhile, maybe you're a collector of cars and stuff, and you like trucks and you like the GMC brand, this is your opportunity to snag one of the special editions, and I would go for the Sierra, not the Yukon or the Yukon XL. The SUV, it does look nice, but not my favorable looking vehicle. I mean, it looks nice, but I don't like the headlamps too much on the Yukon. And trust me, I'm a huge GMC fan, not a huge fan of it. The Sierra is the bottom.
I'd rather go with the. Well, maybe if they switch the headlights from the Sierra to the Yukon.
Yeah, but maybe. Then why would you get a
no,
Yukon?
Not just the headlights.
Yeah, but little tidbits there. And, of course, it wouldn't be speed without recalls, wouldn't it? So we do have recalls. We actually have 2 types of recalls, but there's one recall, which is for Honda CR-Vs once again.
Man.
And this time it's counting for 554,000 Honda CR-Vs are being recalled. And this is for headlight switch wiring issues. The problem is that the wiring of the headlight switch could potentially fail, causing low beam headlights to malfunction, which could increase the risk of crashing at night. So pretty much you're driving at night and all of a sudden your lights just turn off, but your switch is pulled. Or, it's on the on position, but nothing's happening. And the automaker says no crashes or injuries due to the loss of headlights have been reported. Who knows? If you're found dead in the middle of the forest, how can you report that, right? But so far, no deaths or injuries. And the fix is that Honda will begin notifying owners potentially affected by the issues with the vehicle by mail in late April. I hate when they do this. They take forever to send out these recalls. That should be something that should be, as soon as they know, they need to send it out, right?
Well, yeah.
But they don't. Owners
can putting your life on the line just driving that car.
I know, and a lot of people don't, they don't listen to like a show like this, and they're not reading about it in the news unless it's like a big issue like the Toyota acceleration thing that happened a couple of years ago.
The Prius.
Yeah, unless it's a big story like that. Car news doesn't get mentioned, like at the evening news and stuff. I know. Especially, they'll do celebrity news before they ever do car news because it gets more ratings. Unless it's like the Toyota thing where they try to scare you, which really it wasn't. It was only the one car, and it really wasn't an issue.
Well, it was that one car, and then there was those couple people that accident.
Yeah, as you put your fingers up. Yeah. Well, what I mean is that, they they hyped it up, and it really wasn't a big thing, and Toyota got hurt really bad for that, and then the tsunami hit too. So it wasn't, the last couple of years hasn't been very good for Toyota. Plus their quality assessments, their quality value has plummeted pretty badly too. It wasn't what it once was back like in the early 2000s when they were starting to take over GM sales. And GM for years, over 75 years, was the number one automaker in the world. So it was pretty hard to top that.
Man.
But back to the fixes that Honda will begin notifying owners of the CR-V in late April by mail only.
What?
Yeah, so snail mail by your postal service. Owners can bring their SUV into the authorized dealer for inspection and repair if needed, free of charge. The automaker says any concerned customers can call a toll-free number at 800-999-1009 and select the option for when you are prompted to. And you can actually visit a website called recalls.honda.com for more information. And again, while it doesn't really...
It's not really that great if they have their own recall.
I'm pretty sure every car company has its own recall thing. I'm just I'm playing a little hardball here because I'm pretty sure that link isn't, like on the Honda main page when you're looking to buy a new car and you're looking at the Accord and then you're looking at the Pilot and stuff, and then all of a sudden on the navigation bar it says recall, and you're like, oh, never mind. I'm pretty sure that's the link they leave out. But this does affect 554,000 SUVs. Including 2002 through 2004 CR-Vs and the 2003 Pilot, because they share some of the same features. I
just want to make a note. Since they're using snail mail, it's not April, it's going to be May.
Yeah. And by then, who knows what will happen.
Oh, man.
And a different recall of sorts, and it is actually the first recall I've done for this manufacturer, General Motors.
Oh.
And you know me, I'm a GM fanboy here. But this is a weird one. It's not like... Toyota's unexpected acceleration or headlamps or fuel lines like Ford or stuff like that can clog anything. This is a weird one. This is mainly for it's for the Chevrolet Volt only, and and here's the thing: it's because one of the channels on the radio doesn't work. That's the recall. I'm glad.
So one of the channels don't work, and they're calling
a recall. I'm not exactly sure why it qualifies, but apparently, if you have Chevrolet has XM, which is the satellite radio. There's two satellite radio providers. There's Sirius, and then they're both the same thing, but in cars with like Dodges and Chrysler, you can get Sirius, and then with Chevrolets and Cadillacs, you can get XM. They're both the same company, but for whatever reason, they still are separated when they're in the cars. Chevrolet the Volt, though, if you have an XM radio that was installed during the initial when they launched the vehicle too, up to this point, for whatever reason, every channel works except for Fox News XM 114 and also including CNN, MSNBC, NPR, and POTUS.
I'm sorry, I just had a little thought. That's probably why they're calling a recall, because of the Fox network.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I found kind of funny. Chevrolet was bailed out through the Obama administration, which is now there's a little political joke. I'm just poking some fun. Chevrolet was bailed out through Obama, and Obama is a Democrat, which is the left side. Republicans are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Fox is a Republican broadcast. They're very known to be very Republican, and Obama is he pretty much bailed out. There's always a joke they call it government motors because they got bailed out. So it's funny that they have to issue an recall as a Democrat to say, hey, oh yeah, we're not just deliberately taking out the Republican thing. Just a little funny side note, I thought. But yeah, that's the only recall that they have. Apparently, it is upsetting a lot of people though, because they can't receive certain stations. They see it as a blockade, like a censorship, which it isn't. Just for whatever reason, the radio doesn't pick it up. But I'm pretty sure there is an investigation on why. Chevrolet doesn't even know at this point why it's doing that. Probably just a malfunction in
that's why I'd rather just switch it out for aftermarket.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have XM in my truck. I never use it. I never got the subscription for it.
Subscription. Huh.
So what for? And really quick before we end the show, I did want to bring up that 6x6 story here because I know I had Boontarn interested in the beginning. There is a jet-fueled power Toyota Helix.
Jet-fueled power.
Yep, jet-fueled power Toyota Traverse in Arctica. And if you want to see there's a really cool picture. Now, you know me, I'm not a Toyota fanboy by any means. You're the Toyota guy in here.
No,
But
that's the first thing I noticed in that picture. Was like Toyota.
But that is a really good looking Toyota when it's equipped as a 6x6. And they actually are racing them out there. It's a 3.0 liter diesel, inline 4 diesel. It's a workhorse mule for, when they're doing, for the U.S., for the United States government. They're out there inspecting, it's the National Geological Surveys where they test the ice or seeing how much it's melting, all that
and they're
stuff.
using these
6x6. Well, out there, it's very rough terrain. They have to winterize these vehicles. It's sort of like, have you seen ice road truckers that show? Where they have to, like put special winter batteries and special winter tires and stuff. This is pretty much what they have to do to this vehicle, but it's using, and we all know 4x4, where you can deactivate the front and all that. Well, this is a 6x6, which isn't uncommon. There's actually a lot of 6x6 vehicles. It's just they're in the commercial use. You don't see them out on the road, which would be pretty cool if you did. But
I wouldn't mind having one of these.
Yeah, imagine fighting that in LA traffic.
Jeez,
that would be
man.
nice. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring because it does look really cool.
What the heck is that?
They have a whole fleet of them, by the way, too. They have like these awesome wenches and stuff, pulley systems. These trucks are.
Fleet?
Yeah, here's I'll put all the pictures up. They're really cool.
Wow,
There's a fleet of 3 Toyota Tundras out there. They're all equipped with giant fat tires, sort of like the old ATCs back in the day, the 3-wheelers. They're equipped with tires like that. And they have all kinds of sonar, radar, everything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them that are regular, 4x4s. I'm more likely guessing that would suck.
The blue one looks like a 4x4 with a trailer on it.
Yeah, the white one in the back does look like that too. They only have one 6x6, but they're all winterized and all equipped with all the latest stuff in there.
Hey man, imports.
Hey, you can do that with a GMC too. They actually have some like commercial grade trucks, dude, that can tow like a good ton.
No, I'm not doubting that,
No,
but that
but
looks pretty good.
I'll show you some stuff off there, dude. GM makes some heavy duty trucks that are like I've seen people drive them out in the desert and they use them as their regular everyday truck, but they're like the giant commercial trucks that can tow tanks.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, but they use them as their everyday driver. Talk about worse than a Hummer. That thing probably only gets like 3 miles to a gallon on
if
diesel.
You're lucky.
On diesel.
If you're lucky.
Oh yeah, and then like Boontarn said, remember those vehicles in Antarctica, jet fuel, people, not just regular conventional gas. Which is good, by the way, because remember in Alaska it's $6 for a gallon of gas.
I wonder how much you're gonna pay for jet fuel though.
Yeah, well I know racing fuel a few years ago was $6. Imagine how it is now.
Actually, it's somewhere in Baldwin Park. It's about $10 per gallon
Yeah, doesn't surprise me at all.
for racing fuel.
That's like what, 97, 101 octane? It's like
Something like
crazy
that. Yeah,
stuff like
pretty high,
that.
yeah.
Well, don't forget you can call us anytime at 626-532-7154 or email us at speedradiob3@yahoo.com or check us out online at b3radionetwork.webs.com. I'm Brian Bombarius, and behind the boards I'm my co-host Boontar MacGyver Horn.
Yep.
Check us out next week. We'll be right back. We'll be back next week. This is Speed only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's only internet talk station.